My name is Luca Ratti. I'm an associate professor of European and Comparative Labor Law at the University of Luxembourg.
My name is Katerina Pantazatou and I'm an associate professor in tax law and the director of the Robert Schuman Initiative for European Affairs here at the University of Luxembourg.
I am Eleftheria Neframi. I'm professor of European Union Law at the University of Luxembourg. My field of research is institutional European law, internal market law, and European law litigation.
Well, first of all, we have to remember that the first 10 years of Schengen were years of try and go, because in fact the effectiveness of the Schengen rules were 10 years later, so 1995. But then we had ups and downs concerning internal market freedoms and particularly concerning free circulation of individuals and goods.
Initially, the Schengen agreements were supposed to facilitate the functioning of the internal market by removing border controls. But with the evolution of the agreements, we have a broader Schengen space, meaning that some third states that are not EU member states participate in the Schengen area. So it means that we went beyond the concept of the internal market, and now we have an area, the focus of which is mainly freedom and security.
Not only it was important to have this right to freely move across European countries, but also it was important to make it concrete. The Schengen Accord helped so much to make these rights concrete.
The development of this Schengen area made it necessary to develop some common rules, a common system concerning the controls at the external borders. It means that we have the development of a common visa policy. This is a very important step, especially in a field where the competences of the European Union are not so important, the field of immigration and asylum, but as a necessity stemming from the establishment of the Schengen area, we were obliged, institutions and the member states were obliged to accept this development of the common visa policy.
Schengen helped creating cross-border communities of workers. This is very true for Luxembourg. And in fact, it was in the spirit of the Schengen Accord. At the beginning, we should remember that before the Schengen Accord in 1985, there was a pilot accord between France and Germany in 1984, and that was the blueprint on which the Schengen Accord then started to work. And when this then became the reality, more and more countries started to become part of the Schengen Accord.
Schengen area does not mean abolition of border controls in an absolute way, but as we know, there is a possibility to reintroduce border controls, internal border controls, but this is an exception.
And I think more and more countries are introducing direct or disguised border controls under the pretext of security. And even here, if you try to cross from Luxembourg to Germany by car, a bit further after the border, you will see a quasi-police station where many cars are stopped for control.
If they reintroduce border controls, it is for a specific reason. It is because there is an emergency, there is a need to protect national interest and national security. It is exceptional. It cannot be a ground for circumventing the guarantees that are imposed by the general rules of migration policy.
You can abolish it by disguise, or you can abolish it directly. And if we get to a point where we have abolished the Schengen Agreement by disguise, then we really have one pillar, if you will, of the European Union, partly of the European Union, and one pillar of the whole Schengen Agreement, this cooperation and trust it reflects, completely gone.
We hope that the exceptional circumstances will remain exceptional, and that the main concern for the application of the Schengen rules and migration and asylum rules will be the effective protection of the individuals.
Imagining now in 2025 a world without the Schengen Accord, so a world where we had to show our ID cards at the borders, would be simply impossible.
The signing of the Schengen Agreement 40 years ago was something revolutionary, but we shouldn't go backwards and still consider this agreement revolutionary today. On the contrary, we should build up on top of this and continue reinforcing free movement, cooperation and trust among the Schengen states.